right. Thank you. I want to thank everybody for showing up at this meeting. We had a very successful bike ride, and I I'll talk about that later. Did everybody receive the agenda that I sent out?
I believe so.
It's on the Google Calendar invite if you have that too. I pasted it in there.
Okay, good, good. Are there any additions to the agenda?
One moment while I pull it up.
Okay.
Yes, I'd like to add under new business, I'd like to discuss briefly the phone patch and the phone line on the repeater.
Okay. The auto patch. Okay. Any other additions? Hearing none, there aren't any new members here, so we'll go on to the president's report. Again, we had a very successful bike ride. There were only 3 incidents, and I don't believe any of them were serious. One was a broken clavicle, which happens all the time to bike riders. I know I had one years ago, but it's easy to do. So I don't think any of the 3 were serious, and so that was good. Don has sent last year's bike ride, I had to contact the coordinator for the bike club, and we waited about a couple of months after the bike ride was finished, and we never received a check like we always do. So I called her and reminded her that, well, I didn't remind her. I said, we usually get a check from the bike club to buy our equipment and to support us. And she said, oh, I thought I didn't know about that. So that she talked to the rest of their board, and pretty soon we got a check right after that. So Don has already reminded them that we usually we can't ask for a donation, but we can request it. I guess a better way to put it. So Don has already done that, and so that's good.
Yeah.
I don't. I guess we can talk about the operators' experiences down under new business. We'll talk about that, and I think the state of the club is good. And so anyway, John never sent me a treasurer's report. He usually does later in the month. But the last report for last month we're in good shape. So that's as soon as he sends that to me, I can forward it on to the club. And then Don has already sent out an email about a report for the bike ride. So Don, do you have anything else you want to add? Maybe what was the 3rd incident? I know about the first 2, but what was the 3rd incident?
The 3rd incident was a biker was coming into the Charles Howard Park, but he was crossing the railroad tracks and went down. And ambulance was called, and he was taken away by ambulance, and that's all I know.
Okay. Oh, good. All right. Well, not good, but yeah, railroad tracks are very slippery, but along with the paint on the roadways. But okay, thank you. Thank you for that. And we're because of the snowpack is the last I heard, it was 25 feet up at Kirkwood. If that melts rapidly, there's going to be a lot of flooding. And
I have pictures from next to 88 up there. It's pretty impressive because I drove to Nevada recently, and there is 16 feet of snow next to the highway.
yes,
I
yeah,
have a picture
exactly.
of my truck with 16 feet of snow next to it, and the signs like poking out the top. It's pretty impressive.
Yes, yeah, exactly. We had a monster snowfall this year. If that does melt rapidly, hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully it's gradual melting. But if it melts rapidly, there are going to be a lot of flooding problems. There was at the beginning of January, there was a lot of flooding down here, especially down in Jackson, along Jackson Creek. If we have to open a shelter, I'll be calling Don and just he'll send out Aries requests for operators, usually down in Jackson and Ione. We have cell service down there, so we really don't need a operator down there or Aries network. But in case we do, please. I know Jim Piper down at Sacramento. He's a Red Cross person, also a ham, and he wants us to set up a Aries network every time, and we have other things to do. So, but in case we do, just be ready and be prepared to operate an Aries network. Does anybody have? Go ahead.
Yes. Well, we have trouble with the Go Slow box, which we use for our deployment. So Joe has the Go Slow box, and because we had trouble with the old computer monitor screen or monitor in there, okay, and it's really old. It's an old, I forget, a Motorola, yeah, came from Chuck. So
that's old, yeah.
way back when. So
Well, when we
but,
get to
but we can always use something else as in deployment. We just have to remember that we won't be able to use that for a while.
Okay.
well, let's talk about that when we get to going over Party Pardee.
Okay. Next is old business. Again, I don't have to. Everybody that is present tonight has paid their dues, so we can skip that. Under new business, why don't we? I'll move Party Pardee up to the top so we can start because we've already started talking about that. We'll go ahead and talk about that now. Joe, if you want to talk about it, and then after Joe's done, I want to get everybody's experience on operating either at the rest stops or along with the SAG drivers. I think all of us here were on SAG vehicles. But after Joe's done talking, I just want to hear everybody's reaction to what happened last Saturday. Okay, go ahead, Joe.
Many of you have not been in the quarry where we put one of our digis up, and I took a couple of pictures while I was going up there, so I thought I'd share a little bit of that. This is driving up there, and I'm following the quarry supervisor, Jonathan Velasquez's truck here in mine, and you can see how large the vehicles that drive around up there are. It is that's actually not the largest truck they have up there, but it's pretty large. And let me see here. That's us driving through there, and those are the different products they make. That's the big stuff in the back. And we end up going all the way up to the top, and this is what you get at the top. This was our Digi 3 that was up there. If you look in the distance, where those trees are down there, that's one of that's Jackson Valley Road, and it's part of the course actually down there, and Buena Vista is like right beyond it. there. But anyway, that's the kind of the view from up on the top of the quarry, which I thought you'd find amusing there. And there's the actual Digi. This is one of the three, and this one's set up to go off of solar, so it's got the little solar thing up there, and that's kind of what it looks like installed. Anyway, I thought I would just show people that just so they know what it looks like when we get up there. And
Thank you.
and so operationally, the one thing that we had that was not optimal was the APRS radio, the radio that receives the APRS signal in our Go Slow box, which is the big box that we have in our little van. There was kind of deaf. It could hear packets that were local, like if you were right in the park there, it would hear you, but it wouldn't hear any of the digis, which are a little further away. In particular, this Digi is actually about 4 miles or 5 miles from the park, and it should always hear this one, the one that we put up at the top of the quarry. And we weren't hearing it. And I figured that out in the morning. So what I did was I just took the other setup that we had inside that was going to do the map display for the bike riders to see where the sag wagons were. I just took the laptop and the radio I had there and put it in the van, and then we used that for the rest of the day, and it was fine because we actually have 2 completely independent systems that receive APRS. So I just had to hook that up to the same antenna that we were going to use for the inside the van, and that way we knew where everybody was. So there was no real operational impact other than we didn't have that map display for the bike riders during the thing, which is kind of a nice to have. It's not a essential to have, but it's pretty essential to know where the sag wagons are at any given moment. And as far as everybody, like operating on frequency and stuff like that, I think everybody did a great job. It wasn't too chatty. It wasn't, people were to the point. They checked in when they needed to. They didn't chatter on the channel with each other. It was okay. We had a couple of hams come on like during the day just to use the repeater. But the operation went really smoothly on the air, I thought. You can actually go to Broadcastify and listen to it because the repeater I set up a couple days beforehand. I set up the repeater on Broadcastify. I have a little feed that happens right here in my on this computer that feeds the repeater into Broadcastify, and there's a 365-day archive of that. So if you go to the Broadcastify feed and say feed archives or something like that, and then go back to any of that day, you can actually hear what happened on the air the whole day, which is great. So from that point of view, I think we did really well. I mean, everybody did good. The trackers all worked. We didn't run out of battery on anyone's tracker. There was no real substantial dead spots on the course, even all the way down in Valley Springs. There's a couple spots in Valley Springs that are really hard to get into. Matter of fact, the repeater was more spotty than the digipeaters were, actually. Like there were places where I could see where the sag wagon was, but the person in the sag wagon was super scratchy into the repeater. I think some people were using handheld radios. I think most people had a mobile radio, but I think there was a couple of people out there with handhelds, and that's super scratchy in some places, especially in Valley Springs. But everything else was fine. So great. As far as I'm concerned, it's a great operation. We had one thing go bad. We fixed it, and we moved on. Back to you.
All right. Thank you, Joe, for that. Michael, do you have anything to add on your experience?
I thought it was fine. I worked a double shift with 2 different drivers, and they were both very personable. All the riders really appreciated having the sag wagons out there. I think, having the radio operators in the sag wagons is important because, along with the trackers, because Joe needs to know, or Net Control needs to know where we are so they can dispatch the closest sag when there is a problem. And I thought everything went really well.
Good. Thank you. And thank you for taking over for me on the one sag wagon. All right. Thank you. Lindsay,
Yeah, I thought the day went very well. My experience was excellent. I had a good driver who knew the course really well. Um, we actually made 3 loops through, bringing somebody back on each time.
Good.
We didn't cover anything major. The closest I heard was someone had a broken wrist, but that was passed on to another sag wagon, so we didn't take that person in. The thing we need to be a little bit, I don't know how to do it exactly, but we swept part of the course, and then I heard on the radio somebody else was sweeping behind where we'd already swept, but it's better safe than sorry to have somebody come in behind it and do a double sweep on the short course. Not a big deal, but I was very pleased, except for my own stupidity of leaving a microphone at home. It was a great day. But Don bailed me out on that, so I'm really pleased that it worked out well. And next year I'll have my microphone with me.
All right. Thank you, Lindsay. George, you're new, right? Or
Well, I've been around for a while, but last 2 years I've been kind of like a hermit. I haven't been doing much in the way of participation.
okay.
So tonight I wanted to just see how things work, or to get a better idea of how things work with what you guys are doing with the races and things.
Oh, good. Well, welcome. Welcome back then, or just welcome. All right. Thank you. Thank you for joining us tonight. Robert.
Yeah, I thought it went pretty well. Things went really smooth. I was in the sag wagon that came on that last injury where the person was down next to the tracks. And the only comment that I had on that wasn't radio related, but it was actually from the sag driver. We stopped to see if we could lend assistance, and the other riders that were around the individual, he was still down on the ground. They all said that they called 911 and the ambulance was on its way. We took that at face value, and we got back in the sag wagon and came in to the base at that point. He got reprimanded later on from whoever he was answering to, saying no, that the sag wagon really should have stayed at that incident until things were resolved. So, but again, I think everything went real smooth. There were a couple dead spots along the course, but not bad. And everybody followed protocol pretty well, and things went really smooth.
Good. All right. Thank you, Robert. And that the response from the sag driver and doing the double sweeping, that's not our call. That's up to the SAG coordinator who's back at the command post. So that's I think everything we did was as the best that we could do.
Yeah, and one of the things that was a little different this year than last year was the SAG coordinator was not very active with us. Like, we'd have somebody go out and tell him things, but he wasn't like sitting right with us. Like the guy last year was sitting right with us. So I think
Right.
the whole double sweeping thing, that might have been my mistake, actually, because I was like basically having people sweep the course because I'd done that before and I knew how to do that. And I may have actually gotten 2 people to do the same thing, but that happens. But there you are.
But
Lindsay said better safe than sorry, though. You wouldn't want to leave somebody out on the course. That would be bad.
There was a little confusion about the short course, the part where the short course, like if you're taking the short course, there's a little connection there that goes between the out leg of the long course and the in leg of the long course.
right.
There was a little confusion as to whether there was anybody in there at one time, and that I probably asked somebody to go check because there had been some confusion about whether there were riders down there.
Hear from John.
Yeah, so for me, was my first experience, and so it was definitely a learning situation, and everyone, I think made it really easy for me, and thanks to Dawn for providing me with a radio to use, and had a lot of fun actually, driving in the SAG or riding in the SAG unit. We did come up on some other SAG units at times, kind of bunched up, but normally what we did at that point is we just kind of pulled over and parked and let the other SAG go for a while, and then would try to get some separation between us, but otherwise, I thought things worked pretty good. Like at one point there was a rider that was cramping up, and Net Control got in touch with us, and we're able to turn around and go pick that rider up and bring him back. So I thought the communication was very good on that. But yeah, it was a great first experience for me.
Good.
Count on
good.
you for next year.
I was just going to say the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean,
Good.
even
Excellent.
in 2 weeks or whatever here, I'll try to get down to Amador City and see what I can do to help.
Oh, good. Good.
I may need to borrow a radio or something from someone though.
That's all right. That's all right. And thank you for volunteering to be out there. Thank you, everybody. Don, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I want to commend Melissa Ray. I think she did just the most fantastic job. Okay. She had her young'un with her, 8 months old, and he was very well behaved. My two kids wouldn't have been that way. So, but no, she was very organized and took care of all the distribution of the trackers and antennas and batteries and everything, and got everything back. I mean, so she did a fantastic job. It's a shame she's not on tonight. I really give her kudos. That's somewhat of a hard job. That's a all-day job. You don't get, when by the time you get everybody out, you have the first ones coming back in. Okay, so it's anyhow. So, but and Joe did a fantastic job, and of course we had Ron Money, HRO, in there so that they could trade off in one thing or another, and that was great. So I have no other comments. Everything went great as far as I was concerned.
Well, thank you for all the work that you did in organizing this. And I like I said in that email, that you're the reason it was so successful is because you did a good job organizing it.
No, the reason it went really well was the 16 people that were involved in it.
Okay, right. Well,
they all worked together, and they all did what they needed to do.
Right.
They did it very well.
Including you. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I thought you guys got the thing all broke down. I turned around and everything was being buttoned up. I'm like, geez, I think I picked up one thing. That was it. It was all done.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, it was at the end of the race, it's time to go. And I want to thank everybody that was there, on Friday, for setup, because that's one of the things. If we set it up correctly, then things go smoothly. I mean, looks like we're organized, even though sometimes we're not quite.
Yeah, we didn't have to make very many changes or anything on the morning of the race because it was all set up right the previous day. It was great.
Good. So does anybody have anything else to add for the Party Pardee bike ride? I'm positive they'll ask us to do it again next year. While I was out at Rest Stop 3, I met a guy from the Calaveras Ham Club, and he said, well, we could have used some of your help from we could have used more operators on the ride and walk for art bike ride that they had it last month in March. And I said, well, you should have contacted us. So we could have sent some operators over there. So he left his card for me for next year's bike ride. I'm sure it'll be again in March. And they just need a few operators to go over there and help them out. We did this years ago. We did it for Mr. Frog's wild bike ride that they have over there every year. And we send, 3 or 4 operators from Amador over there to help them out, and they appreciated that. But so that they'll need our help again next year. And I said, well, just let us know, and we can help them out. So then, and again, that'll be in March sometime. So there another bike ride is coming up on April 15th. That's what is that? Saturday or Sunday? 7, 8. Saturday. Next Saturday is April. There we go. April 15th is another bike ride, and this one will be a lot smaller. Maybe only 100 riders, if that. So it's they need, if you want to come out and help, just let Joe know, and we'll be meeting in Amador City. I think they have one SAG wagon going out, and Joe is going to be at net control again. So if you want to go out, come out there, and it should be beautiful weather. And again, though, it'll be a small bike ride. It only lasts about 2 hours, if that. So if you want to come out, let Joe know, and we could. So far, it's just me and Melissa and Joe that are going to be out there. But if you want to come out and get more experience using your radio, please join us.
Now we have another volunteer as well. Let's see. I believe he's online tonight.
Yeah. I think I already shot you an email. I think
Right.
Yesterday.
Right.
So I'm in.
So you will need to borrow the radio again from Don. If you could get one of those radios from him, this week sometime, that'd be great. Just you want to borrow one of the Go boxes, right?
Yeah, because all I have is the starter radio, that QRZ one, and
Yeah. Don, do you know if those Go boxes have any simplex frequencies programmed in them?
Yes, they have simplex in them.
Okay. Because we may have to use a simplex frequency, because I don't know how well the repeat.
What simplex do you want that you're going to use?
Probably either 5.2 or 5.5, but I assume
5.5. They're both in there.
Okay. And the reason why is because this is down in Amador City. I don't know how well the repeater gets down there. And the other thing is, it's actually not, I think it's only the bike ride is the longer. If you see on the thing here, there's 2 bike rides. There's one that's a really short one that's like an hour. And then there's a longer one that goes on during the same time, which is 2 hours. That's the one that kind of goes down into one of the valleys down there. So the way I got contacted about this bike ride by the daughter of one of the women who's in the GMRS group here in Lockwood. And what they've had this is the 3rd year they're doing this bike ride. They've had no radio support the previous 2 years. And last year somebody went down and had a problem, and it took a really long time for anyone to find out. So what they wanted to do is have a couple bikers with the ride have radios, have a radio at essentially what's a rest stop in the thing. It's kind of on the top of the hill before they go down in the valley, and then have a radio in the SAG wagon. And just basically, this will be voice only, no APRS, probably on a simplex frequency. If they do what I asked them to do, they will actually get they will rent a bunch of business band radios so that we can give a few to the riders, because they're not hams, right? So we can't just give them a ham radio and say, here, use this. If we do that, then the hams will actually have 2 radios. They'll have their ham radio and a business band radio. And maybe we'll be able to all talk to each other on one business band frequency, which would be great. Or although the hams may need to actually relay on a ham frequency. Anyway, we won't actually know very much until later in the week. But I figured we could help out with just like really 3 or 4 people is like completely optimal for a small ride like this. So I think that we have, I think right now, 4 people signed up, so that's good. If anyone else wanted to come and have fun, they could do that. But it's only half a day too. It should be over by noon-ish, 12:30 or so. It should be over by 12:30. I will be bringing a couple of radios for the net control, probably that extra stack of radios that we have that we don't use normally in the van, just to have a couple of radios that are mobile radios. And I'm hoping it's really casual and easy, and it'll be good weather, I hope, and a nice morning, and you get to see Amador City. Anyway,
and lots of beer.
Yes, there is beer involved too, but please after the bike ride.
Yeah. So the frequency 146.55 is our standard emergency frequency. I think that's the one that we always use for simplex.
Yeah, I will use that frequency if we need to go simplex between each other and can't use the repeater, then we'll use the 655 frequency.
Okay. All right. So that's a lot of bike rides this year. I know that's Dawn, do we have any information about the upcoming ham cram?
Yeah, we're gonna have a ham cram.
Do we have a date?
Yes, September 30th.
Oh, September. Okay.
September 30th at the American Legion. I mean, no, not American Legion.
The training hall.
Training hall at the ambulance center.
Right. Okay.
And that's already been taken care of. It's already reserved.
Oh, good. Good job.
So we have a ham cram from 8 o'clock until noon, and then we have a break for lunch, and no lunch is provided. And then we go back to ham cram again until 3 o'clock, and then, well, actually a little bit before 3, and then 3 o'clock, then we do exams for all levels of ham radio, for tech, for general, and for extra.
Good.
It would be nice to know if you are planning to do so. If you are planning to upgrade your license, it would be nice that you would let me know, so that I can prepare for it, and then prepare a folder for it with your name. It's always nice, because if you get there at 3 o'clock and you want to take the general and the extra both, that day, we have to get the folders out, we have to get the exams out, we have to get everything out and go. And we have to make sure that we have enough people. You have to realize that if well, everybody basically knows this, but tech, it takes a general or an extra to grade a tech exam. If you're taking the general, it takes an extra. If it takes 3 extras to grade that exam, and an extra, it takes 3 extras again. So it's not we have to prepare. If we don't, if you go and you want to take the general and we don't have enough extras to grade your exam, you can't do it.
Right.
And so it's nice to know so that we can make sure that we have enough people there to grade the exams. Really, I mean, otherwise you're SOL.
You said that was September 30th?
September 30th.
Okay. Because I had we have a new Red Cross person, my supervisor, and she wants to take the test for the technician. So I'll let her know.
Is she going to be in part of the ham cram?
Yes.
Oh, well,
I told her about it. And, I told her to buy the book first and prepare, and then show up for the ham cram, the class and the test. And
it's nice to know ahead of time that who it is, and we can give them updates and make sure that they get their FCC
license.
registration and et cetera, because we have to do that now.
Okay.
I
Okay,
mean,
good.
that is a must. There's no, you don't get to, well, you could do this or you could do that. There's only one way to do it now.
Okay, thank you.
So have them send me an email.
I will.
And we have 2 signed up already, so.
Wow, good. So any questions for Don on the ham cram or the bike rides? Hearing none, we'll go on to field day. I sent it out an email to everybody asking if they're interested in having a field day. I only heard back from Michael, and he's interested. Joe said that if there was enough interest, he would have the field day at his house again, like we did that a few years ago. So, Joe, do you still want to go through with this?
Yeah, I should be in town then, and that should work out. So I think by default, we should probably plan that I'll just have, a radio set up on the back porch here, and people can come and play field day if they'd like. There may be ways that you can play field day for the club, not at the club station. There was last year. They did something like that. I don't know if I haven't seen the rules for field day this year yet.
They aren't out just yet. They're due any day.
Yeah, so I haven't seen the rules yet. So that might be possible too, but assuming that the deck is now done, it actually has railings, permanent railings now.
But we can't fall off?
Yes, the last time there was a danger that you could fall off my deck because the deck was done, but there were no railings. The last time we did this. Yeah, I think that'd be kind of cool to do if people want to do that, and bring your own radio if you want to use your own radio, whatever. I don't do CW, but if you want to come over here and do CW, you can. But we'll advertise that as we get closer to it.
And we will have radios there for everybody else to use, so you don't have to bring your own radio if you don't have one. You just show up and you can operate on our radios. So that's no problem. Does anybody have any questions for Joe on field day? It's the last weekend in June. So we'll send out more information as we get closer. And then we have 2 in-person meetings a year. One is the Christmas luncheon, and the other is the annual barbecue. We always have it in July. We used to have it on the 4th of July, but I don't think we can move that off of the actual 4th. And Michael, do you want to provide the barbecuing again?
Yeah, I think Howard got us the park reserved for July 15th. I'll do tri-tip again, and I'll bring tri-tip and salad, and we'll do kind of a potluck, if everybody wants to bring a dessert or whatever their favorite dish is. I thought that worked out really good last year. There was a ton of food, and it was really good food too. So
Yes.
I thought it went well, and I thought we'd do it again. You know, I can do something other. I can add hamburgers or hot dogs, whatever people want. Just gotta let me know.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it was well attended last year, and you did an excellent job of the cooking, and it went very well. So you said it was July 15th?
That's what I have on my calendar.
Okay, sounds good. So everybody needs to plan for that. We'll send out more information about that as we get closer. It's just a social event. We do have a meeting, our July meeting, but that will be brief, and so it's mainly a social event.
Oh, we did bring some radios last year. Howard brought some radios. I think Don brought a radio. I brought my Go Box and some handhelds, you know, just to kind of show and tell, give people ideas, you know, like my Go Box is made in an ammo can. You know, it's pretty easy to do, and it's pretty compact. So it's just, you know, and I like
Yes.
Don's setup with his Go Boxes. It's very simple and very light. Mine's not that light. So I just thought, you know, it was kind of fun to be able to see other people's gear, what they have, and just it's a social event, right?
Get some ideas. Yeah. Good. Okay, does anybody have any questions of what we discovered, or what we've discussed so far? Lindsay, do we have a monthly presentation this month?
We do not.
Okay, that's okay. That's all right.
Well, good, because we don't have one. There will be a presentation next month. Bob has offered to do a presentation on GMRS and how it's being used in and around the county, which should be very interesting. I will not be available during the month of May, so that's why I've asked Bob to take over that. And I have a presentation in mind for the early June meeting. I was going to do a brief overview of field day, and also the rules and how you and what it means, and what you simplify what you have to do if you want to participate in field day on your own or with the club. Either way.
Perfect. That sounds great.
Speaking of the May meeting, I will not be here. I will be in the UK during the May meeting. So I cannot run the Zoom from there, I'm pretty sure. So you will need to find an alternative Zoom source for that meeting.
Okay, I could do it again. I don't have an account, so it has to be a free meeting, and the free meetings only last 40 minutes. So hopefully we've almost gotten through the 40 minutes so far now, but
no, we're at 51 minutes since the beginning of the meeting.
We're at 50 minutes already, and we will have a presentation. Why don't we just go with the presentation? I'll do the presentation first, and then the other rest of the business news can wait till after the presentation. But I want to get that done first, so we'll do that.
Yeah, because this is it's now 3 a.m. in the UK right now, so I'm not going to be up at 2 a.m. to start.
No, exactly.
Where are you going to be in the UK?
The first few days I'll be in London for the coronation, and then I'm going to go to Edinburgh with my son, who's flying over right after that.
Yeah.
So that's Scotland, and then probably back in London for a couple days after that.
Yes, I'll be in London for the coronation also, and then all over the place after that.
Wow, good. Maybe you two can get together while you're out there, among the thousands of people. Anyway, wow, that's good. So Lindsay, you wanted to talk about auto patch.
Yeah, I'm concerned about it after somebody was in on one of the Tuesday night nets and proceeded to dial 911 on the auto patch. I assume they thought that would be great fun to see what happened, and luckily it was dealt with well, and the 911 operator did not sound particularly offended or upset and just wanted to make sure everything was okay. I have never used an auto patch. I don't have the codes for our auto patch. I don't know who does have the codes, but in my opinion, and I don't know enough about how it's programmed, but I think periodically the access codes to use the auto patch should be changed. It should be restricted strictly to members, paid up members who are going to use it. And I'd also like to see, I suggested at times like during our Tuesday night net, the auto patch should be disabled if it can be disabled temporarily. I don't know enough about it. If somebody's got documentation on how it works, I'd love to see it, because I don't want us to start getting in trouble with the sheriff's office for dialing 911.
Right, I understand. And normally we have the codes on a card that have only been distributed to members. But I like your idea of changing the codes every once in a while, so just so that doesn't happen. But I've used it about 3 or 4 times, and it's been an emergency each time. So I really I feel that we really, even though it's not used that often, when it is needed, we have it, and so. I want to keep it, but changing the codes every once in a while sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, is the phone number that the auto patch is connected to? Does it log, or I assume there's a bill or something, so we need to know how many calls are going out through that phone number? Is there any way that we can track that?
Joe can answer that.
Actually, I'm pretty sure John gets the bill for it. And pays it. So if there's call detail, it would be on that bill. I have never seen the call detail. I'm actually looking through, I have all the control codes right here in front of me. And I'm actually looking to see if there's actually a disable the auto patch code. And I don't see it, but there might be one here. I don't know if we ever had the urge to actually turn the auto patch off.
Right. And I don't like that idea of even turning it off just for during the meeting. I just, in case there's an emergency, people need to use it.
Well, if it happens during a net, there's going to be a net control who can relay traffic through if necessary. But because that's the one time that we're probably particularly vulnerable.
Yeah, the way it's programmed, your call cannot be more than 8 minutes. So it will disconnect after 8 minutes. But as far as I know,
it's not disabled.
Or 911.
What's that? Yeah, if you bring it up and type 911, it dials 911.
That's all there is.
No, there's a bunch of other numbers you can do.
Yeah. Oh no, I agree. But you can make local calls on it. Okay.
Right. You can only make local calls to Pine Grove because it's on the Pine Grove thing.
Paul has done. Okay.
Oh, and I hear the other guy, the snowplow guy, do it all the time too. I probably hear a call a month, maybe 2 calls a month on it. When I'm sitting here. But and the calls cannot last more than 8 minutes. It'll automatically disconnect after 8 minutes. There is another code you can type in to actually extend your call another 8 minutes if you want, but you have to type another code to do that. So
I'd say like Lindsay and I, neither one of us even know how to use the auto patch. So maybe we should, educate the members in addition to, looking at turning it off when, or if possible.
okay, so I could actually do that at some point. because I have the instructions here. Now, I don't know if I have any extras of these sheets, but I could probably Xerox this sheet. And give it to people who don't have it, because we've had a few members join since the last time. I think the last time we distributed these was like 3 years ago or something. So there's probably
Something
some.
like that, yeah.
What
Yes,
you got there, Don?
Unmute yourself, Don.
Unmute, Don.
Sorry.
Okay.
I don't like to, anyhow. Yeah, I copied all the cards. Okay. So I have them on sheets, and some of them, this is for the masters, the master part, but it also has all the other normal stuff that you can use. So
yeah, there's really two that everybody should have. They should have the one that says repeater command codes that looks like that.
right. Right.
And then the one that says auto patch instructions that looks like that. So just in case anybody knows, or you're in net control, if you get control of the repeater and you hit the pound sign, it will hang up it will hang up any call on the auto patch. So for right now, if you are a net control and somebody brings up the auto patch, which I've never heard that happen, but it happened. Just get control, override the other station, hit the pound sign, and it should hang up. And at some future meeting, maybe that July meeting, actually, maybe when we have everybody in person, we can hand out these cards to new members, right?
That used to be one of our monthly presentations, was
How to use the auto patch. Yeah.
how to use the auto patch, but we haven't had a in-person meeting for a long time. So yeah, maybe at the July meeting, that would be a good idea.
A good thing. Maybe we can demo the auto patch and give people the codes, right?
Good. Sounds good.
If I had a list of people that wanted the codes, I could send them to them.
Yeah.
I see a Lindsay.
Yeah, I unfortunately I don't have a list of. I have a list of all the members of the club, but I don't have a list of which ones are new.
Okay.
Okay, so right now, who needs the auto patch instructions? Michael?
Lindsay, Michael,
John and Bob.
Robert? Bob?
Yeah,
Bob.
this is one of the laminated cards we used to actually give
Which-
out. It's got the command codes on one side and the auto patch on the other.
John McKenzie. Yeah. Okay. And Bob's W6F.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Joe, why don't you just scan that and just
Wait,
email them out to people?
he already has them scanned.
Oh, great.
Already scanned.
Yeah, he's
Fantastic.
already done that.
Matter of because the laminated cards stay here in the ham shack.
Right.
In my car are copies. So that's
Good idea.
Yeah, I have the big box, the big list, which is every control code, and then I have then there's this little card, which is the one that we normally give to everybody.
Right. I have one of those in my car.
And if somebody else wants to be a repeater controller, I can let them in on the whole deal of how to control a repeater. But the
I
auto
have
patch cards,
Lindsay-
we should anybody who's actually a paying member is supposed to get an auto patch card. So
I have Lindsay, Mike, Bob, and Mac. Okay.
probably Melissa too, because I know she's new.
I will send you the sheets for.
And I don't know, John, you're a new member too, right?
Yeah, I'm new, so
Yeah.
I need it.
Yeah, I got him.
Yeah,
I can't write and look at the screen at the same time.
if you're a paying member, you should have that information so that you can use it.
Definitely, yes.
Rick, you have it?
Trying to say something, Rick, we can't hear you. I see you going off mute, but can't hear you.
I was gonna tell Dawn to include me.
Who?
Rick.
Put Rick on there too.
Rick, N6KLB.
Yeah.
I you know, hey, I'm 85. Give me a chance, you know, going on 90. So
Hey, Lindsay, since you're kind of doing the web thing, is there a way to do like a members only area where we could post something like that?
Not easily at this point, maybe in the future, but not now.
Fair enough.
He has his work cut out for him in updating that website. So it's
Haven't you seen the updated version?
I haven't even looked.
It's up to last month.
oh, good job.
Check it out, Paul.
I will definitely, yes.
It's not.
Seeing as how that was my job, I've been supposed to have updated that for the last 3 years, and I never got around to it. But you're doing a good job, Lindsay. Thank you.
Can I make a suggestion for the website?
Of course.
I think we talked about this the other day, but
Yes, going into WordPress.
well, okay,
Or-
so there's going into WordPress, which is a thing, right? But you know, whenever you're ready to do that, then just do it, right? The thing I was saying was now that we have the Broadcastify feed from the repeater, I was thinking maybe there is a way on Broadcastify, they have a embed our feed in your website thing.
Right.
And maybe we could put that on there.
Yeah, you mentioned that the other day at Party Pardee, and I'm in July when I'm back in stable, I'm gonna be making some changes like that. In fact,
Okay.
that's what I'm gonna start working on, probably getting it into WordPress.
Good.
Yeah, you may want to put it in WordPress before you make changes like that. I don't know.
Oh yeah, because working in the HTML with cascading style sheets is not fun.
Yeah, it does look nice though. I will say it looks nicer than it did before. Definitely.
Good job, Lindsay. Thank you.
Thanks. Anything else we got to cover tonight?
I was just going to ask, does anybody have any questions or comments about anything we've covered?
I did have
Joe.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Don.
That's the repeater command code card and the auto patch card.
Yes, looks like that.
I can't see that.
Really?
Yeah, I understand, but it says repeater command code.
It says repeater command codes on page 1, and then the ones I have, the back says auto patch instructions on the top.
Okay, all right, that's what I'll send out then.
Those are the ones
Agreed.
that every paying member.
Okay, all right, just
Thank
make
you.
sure.
Thank you, Don. Michael, you had something?
I think Don or Joe mentioned that the Go Slow box has a monitor issue. Do you need a monitor, Joe, or?
That is it's actually not a monitor. It's like a very old Motorola PC that's in there. And so I'm thinking for next year, I want to just replace the whole PC, like put a Raspberry Pi in there running the software we need to actually show the map. And that, because it would also make it about a third lighter, because a lot of the weight is that PC that's in there, because that thing is heavy.
Well, if you need a monitor, I have a 17-inch LCD panel mount display that's VGA. So it has no bezel, no frame or anything. It's a panel mount display. So you could put it, you can put it behind, the face if you want. I'll donate it to the club. I bought it for making another arcade unit, but I haven't done it in about 3 years. So obviously I don't need it right now.
Yeah, well, I when I get around to doing that, which will definitely be June or July, I'll talk to you because I might want to just make a new bezel where that PC sits in the box right now and just put that there and then put everything else behind it. Right.
Well, maybe,
The big thing
why-
is that you gotta have room for that 17. It's not, it's 17-inch diagonal, so it's not small.
I think this slot is, that PC is like a 15 or a 16-inch monitor as it is. So it might fit. So if it fits, that would be great because that's probably designed to be mounted into something flat, which would be good, right? It doesn't have a touch screen, right? It's just a regular monitor.
Just a regular monitor.
Yeah, okay, that would be okay for the display on that thing, actually. I think. But
I
I'll,
normally run a mouse anyhow, so.
yeah, well, what I want to do is actually just put a couple switches on the panel so you can turn the Raspberry Pi on and off and stuff like that, and not have to get behind the monitor like we do now in order to turn the PC on and off and stuff.
Well, we can, when you get to that point, I can hook up with you and you can take a look at it, or I can send you
Sure.
specs on it.
or
Yeah.
maybe bring it to the barbecue in July. Will that work?
Either way, if he wants to do it in June, we can do it in June. I'm sure we can find a day when I can, pop up over to Volcano or something.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
thank you.
Not a big deal. All right, thank you.
All right, Rick, were you at the bike ride, Party Pardee?
Rick is muted.
Yeah, Rick.
Maybe he walked away. I don't
Yeah,
know.
there we
Oh,
go.
there he goes.
Yeah, I couldn't, for some reason it wouldn't switch over. Yes, I was rest stop 2.
Okay, what was your experience out there?
I thought things went very smoothly. I was impressed in how well the event went. Your organization, the organization of this event for the radio operators is a little bit different than what I've experienced for other events. I kind of like the way you break down the SAG areas to, where people just kind of stay in an area. But it works when you have a circular route like you have. So yeah, I thought the event went well.
Have you done this ride before for us?
No, I have not done this ride before.
Okay,
I've done lots of
Okay.
other events, but not this particular event.
okay. Do you want to do it next year?
Kind of an early sign up, but yeah, okay.
No, I'm just joking, sort of. Okay, so does anybody else have any questions or comments?
Yeah, for the next month's Zoom meeting, I think I can provide an account that'll give us more than the 40 minutes. So I'll take care of that. It's going to be on GRMS and that'll be up. The account I'm going to use is all GRMS. So I'll provide the Zoom for that session.
Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Anybody else have any questions or comments? Well, then I'll end the meeting here at 10 after 8. And thank you again to everybody for showing up. It's we had a very good meeting, and so I'll see everybody next month then.